Good morning. I call to order the April 28, 2022 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. Gary, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Chair Smith. First, our staff support today. Tony Mayernick, Clerk to the Board. Stephen Madcore, County Counsel. Roll call. Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Commissioner Schrader.
Present.
Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Commissioner Shull.
Here.
Chair Smith.
Here. I now will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We are holding this meeting in person and virtually. If you've joined us via Zoom for this meeting and are interested in providing public comment, we will prompt you regarding how to do that when the time is right. General public comment will be taken at the usual allotted time. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, all elected officials, and members of the public that Robert's Rules of Orders will be enforced in this business meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite participation. Gary, can you please introduce the first item?
Yes, Chair Smith. You will be next meeting as the Housing Authority of Clackamas County. If you would please announce that, Chair.
I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Housing Authority Board.
Commissioners, you are now, as a Housing Authority, you have a single consent agenda item. It appears your Housing Commissioner, Ann Leinster, is not here in the Zoom room, so she will not be here today. But with that, Tony, would you please read the consent agenda for the Housing Authority?
Yes, sir. Item 1, approval of the 2021 to 2024 labor agreement between the Housing Authority of Clackamas County and the Clackamas County Employees Association for Housing Authority Employees. Total contract value is $645,603, funded through rental income, federal funds, fees and fines, investment income, and other incomes. No county general funds are involved.
Thank you, Tony. Does any commissioner wish to remove any item off this consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we support the Housing Authority consent agenda.
Seconded.
Commissioner Schrader has moved for approval of the Housing Authority consent agenda. Commissioner Shull has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, would you please call the poll?
Yes, Chair. Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Shull?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. I will now adjourn as the Housing Authority Board and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Gary, what's next?
Thank you, Chair. Next is the consent agenda for the regular county business. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Item 1 for elected officials, approval of the April 21st, 2022 meeting minutes. Item 1 for County Council, approval of limited delegation of signing authority to the county administrator to sign certain property use agreements where there is no lease or property interest created. These agreements are typically short-term and involve nominal dollar values. This limited delegation of authority will increase efficiency, ensure department program needs can be met quickly. Disaster management, item 1, approval of license agreement with Clackamas County Fairgrounds to rent facilities for 2 wildfire community preparedness events. Contract not to exceed $300. Funding is through budgeted county general funds. Transportation and development, item 1, approval of a contract with Brown Contracting Incorporated for the Fulakazi Crosswalk Improvement Project. Total value is $268,515. Funding is through the Safe Routes to Schools grant and the Community Road Fund. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of a contract with Kittleson and Associates Incorporated for the Amziger Road at Oregon 224 Intersection Improvements Project. Total value is $663,500.26. Funding is through the Community Road Fund. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of contract with Knife River Corporation Northwest for the Rural Systemic Curve Warning Signs Project. Total value is $389,001. Funding is through the County Road Fund and the Community Road Fund. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval of a contract with Knife River Corporation Northwest for the Damascus Area Safety Countermeasures Project. Total contract value is $511,845. Funding is through the Damascus Road Fund. No county general funds are involved. Health, Housing, and Human Services, item 1, approval to apply to Oregon Department of Transportation for Federal Transportation Administration Rural Transportation Funds for COVID-related operations of Mountain Hood Express. Grant value is $225,000. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of grant amendment to a federal sub-recipient grant agreement with Ant Farm Incorporated. This amendment reallocates budgeted funds from administration and program delivery to rental assistance. Agreement value remains at $11,989,019. Funding is through a CARES Act grant. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Human Services for the No Wrong Door services for Clackamas County residents 60 and over. Total value is $285,387. Funding is through the Oregon General Fund and federal Medicaid funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval of Amendment 4 to an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for COVID-19 vaccination operations, increasing contract value by $1 million for a new total contract value of $2.8 million. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Item 5, approval of a sub-recipient agreement with the Mental Health and Addictions Association of Oregon for alcohol and drug recovery peer-delivered services. Contract not to exceed $702,953.16. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority's Community Mental Health Program. No county general funds are involved. Item 6, approval of a sub-recipient agreement with Lifeworks Northwest for intensive behavioral health case management services. Contract not to exceed $344,848.80. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Item 7, approval of a fixed price grant agreement with Oregon State University to provide parenting education and parenting professional development. Grant value is $58,770. Funding is through Oregon State University. No county general funds are involved. Item 8, approval of a revenue grant amendment with the State of Oregon Early Learning Division in Clackamas County on behalf of the Clackamas Early Learning Hub to support and manage coordinated enrollment into the Preschool Promise program. Grant amendment value is $15,291.48. Total grant value is now a maximum of $223,500. No county general funds are involved. Item 9, approval of revenue grant amendment from Oregon Department of Education Early Learning Division for Healthy Families Oregon Program. Amendment recaptures excess Medicaid earnings. Grant amendment value is $1,343.95. Total grant value is now a maximum of $1,793,884.53. No county general funds are involved. Human Resources, item 1, approval of the 2021 to 2024 labor agreement between Clackamas County and the Clackamas County Employees Association. Total contract value is $16,688,652, funded through budgeted county general funds and other budgeted funds, including state and federal funds, fees, and fines. Item 2, approval of the 2021 to 2024 labor agreement between Clackamas County and the Clackamas County Employee Association for temporary and part-time employees. Total contract value is $1,698,743, funded through budgeted county general funds and other budgeted funds, including state and federal funds, fees, and fines. Juvenile, item 1, approval of intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Human Services to facilitate the county's participation in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Title IV-E reimbursement program. Agreement value not to exceed $400,000. Funded through the Oregon Department of Human Services. No county general funds are involved. That concludes the list, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tony. Very good. Does any commissioner wish to remove any item off the consent agenda?
Chair, I don't want to remove an item. I just want to get staff to clarify possibly,
Sure.
or just a minor little error. So under health, or H3S, item number 8, approval of the grant agreement, where it says in blueprint there, at least on my iPad it does, grant amendment value is 15, the grant amendment value is 15 million, or 15,291, oh, I read it wrong.
Yeah.
Never mind, I retract that.
It's all right. You're paying attention, Commissioner Savis,
Yep.
right?
It jumped out at me, it's just one more digit, so.
Okay, that's all right. Any other questions at this time? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda?
Second?
Commissioner Savis has moved for approval of the consent agenda. Commissioner Schrader has seconded that motion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, please take the poll.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savis,
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Commissioners. Gary, what's up next?
Next is public communication, Chair Smith.
Great. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon revised statutes and county code. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes. Comments shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, as these will be accepted as part of the public record. However, we will not be reading them at the business meetings due to time constraints. I will now open the meeting for public testimony. I will take in-person testimony first. Now, Clerk, let's see, I don't see anybody in the room. Tony, do we have anybody online who would like to testify today?
Madam Chair, I do not have anyone pre-registered at this moment. If you would like to testify before the board, please use the raise hand feature. Madam Chair, I do not have any hands raised.
That has to be a first. Since I've been here as chair, I don't remember a time when nobody was here to either call up or come before us. Maybe they went on vacation.
I'm especially pleased about it.
Yeah, okay.
Commissioner Schrader is the longest commissioner here. Has this ever happened in your time that you can recall?
Upon occasion, very, 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 very rarely, however. But things usually get pretty hot when we first start, and then things kind of quiet down.
Good.
So,
Gary, can you introduce the next item, please?
Yes, next is county administrator update. You know, commissioners, in my tenure at the county, the shortest business meeting was 18 minutes. So if you want, I can skip my report so you can break that record. But I have some good news I'd like to share, if I may.
Yes, please do,
Okay, thank
Gary.
you. All right. I always like to share good news of the work of our great county staff or about our programs. I'll start with great news about our county staff. First, these are all related to Department of Transportation and Development staff. Chris McDowell, who's the project manager at the Home Builders Foundation, wrote, I wanted to thank you all for getting us through our permitting for the Veterans Village shade structure. Glenn Hamburg from our planning division and Shirley Cass-Crosby from our permits division were super helpful. We appreciate your support on this as well as our past shelter projects. Next, Dale wrote about service he received from our building code staff. Dale writes, I have spent a considerable amount of time at the building office in the last 6 months. I am building a new home and a barn on my personal property and an agricultural building on another property. I could not be more impressed with every staff member I have worked with. As the chairman of my own company and a CEO for 25 years, I know this type of behavior is not by accident. It is obvious to me there is an intentional effort to give 5-star service to customers at all levels. I don't know the names of all the people involved, but I will name Lisa Goodpaster, who went out of her way to the point that I couldn't end my day without providing feedback. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you to everyone that works hard to give great service. It hasn't gone unnoticed. Isn't that awesome?
Oh,
I'm
that's
so
just
grateful to hear that.
tremendous. Yes.
Wait, there's more. Tammy Stevens, the chair of the Beaver Creek Hamlet, has wrote, and she has been very gracious complimenting our staff. Today she wants to compliment Andrew Yaden from our Transportation Land Use Division. Tammy writes, another great county employee who always goes above and beyond. My land use application was unique on numerous levels, and Andrew Yaden methodically researched it, provided in-depth education and support. He is also a star Planning Commission presenter. Thank you. So I want to thank Glenn, Shirley, Lisa and Andrew, our county staff in Transportation and Development, for their professional work as always. Next, our staff of our Community Development Division and Health, Housing, and Human Services received a letter of thanks from Next Step Strategies, a charity that supports individuals who struggle with sensory challenges in traditional housing opportunities. That group received a community development block grant from Clackamas County. The president of Next Step Strategies, Ann Wilkinson, wrote to us, "Thank you again for the help you gave us with our housing projects on Tolbert Street in Clackamas. With the very generous grant, we were able to install a new road, allowing us to begin our new community. That community is for individuals who experience autism, who have been unsuccessful in traditional housing. With your help, we are changing the landscape of choice in housing by building a new concept for people who experience a disability yet desire a level of independence." So thank you to Ann for sending that compliment, and to our Community Development Division for their good work always. That is my good news for today. Thank you, Commissioners.
That is just great, great stuff about staff. It makes my feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
We'll go on to Commissioner Communication portion of the meeting. Commissioner Fisher, you're up first.
Oh, thank you, Chair Smith. This week, we heard from our Sheriff Brandenburg and District Attorney Wentworth, and I think I can speak for all of us. It was a good conversation, a lot of good information was shared, and in reflecting on that, I see opportunities as we move forward. One thing that I'm really proud of is our commission. And this is what is performed as Clackamas County Plan. And one of our goals, we have two main goals under ensuring safe, healthy, and secure communities. One goal is in regards to housing, which we are meeting with great, robust success. And our next other goal is by 2025, new and existing funding for the county's courthouse, jail, law enforcement operations will be identified from federal, state, regional, and local funding sources. So we heard from our sheriff, the team that we have working on this strategic priority is focused on identifying those funding resources, also continuing to focus on the need for a new space for our Family Justice Center. We heard from our district attorney about the really successful, important work that the Family Justice Center does in providing a safe place when families are struggling with domestic violence. He also reported that when we started this effort of a goal of zero homicides, domestic violence-related homicides in Clackamas County, that seemed so unrealistic at the time, but reported that in the last 3 years in Clackamas County, there have not been any domestic violence-related homicides. And that is a huge success, because those are some of the most difficult and challenging societal issues that we're dealing with, especially with all of the increased stress and trauma of going through the pandemic, of struggling through all of the uncertainty that we have over the last couple years. So a couple things have been on my mind when it comes to public safety. We need to make sure that our community feels safe. We know from reaching out to our community that safety is just one of the number one concerns. If you don't feel safe in your neighborhood, in your home, then really nothing else matters. And we have to prioritize that in collaboration with our sheriff's office and with the other city police offices throughout Clackamas County. We also have to be certain that the money that we have as we fund law enforcement is spent wisely and with accountability, and also that we identify being smart. So utilizing mobile crisis, utilizing behavioral health, and identifying the mental health crisis before it starts, and saving those precious law enforcement resources when they really matter. And we are shifting our system and utilizing other ways of reaching out to people that are in crisis. And so that's all really, really good. I'm really happy that Clackamas County, not only this commission, but our constituents supported the public safety levy, which allowed our sheriff to purchase body cameras so that we can increase our accountability systems in Clackamas County. It's important that we have all pieces of the pie, that we have the funding, we have the collaboration, which is key. That is why Clackamas County is so special when it comes to our public safety. We have the collaboration. We also are building and continuing to improve accountability systems. And when you hear our district attorney talk about what is going on in the county to the north, in Multnomah County, with 94 homicides in 2021, in contrast to Clackamas County, where there were 5, not that 5 homicides it's 5 too many, I have to say, but it just goes to show that what we're doing here in the spirit and the heart of Clackamas County is, it's keeping us safer. It's keeping us safer. So let's keep our eye on the prize. Let's keep our focus. And commissioners, I appreciate that we're all so aligned in this effort, and we will continue to be a strong voice in not only for Clackamas County, but in the region and the state. So those are my comments for today, Chair Smith.
Thank you for the update, Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Savas, you're up.
Thank you. I appreciate Commissioner Fisher's topic that she brought up was one of the ones that I wanted to mention. And, perhaps I don't necessarily disagree, but I would put a caveat or two with that, and that at least perhaps maybe it's because where I live, which is probably closer to Portland, in Clackamas County, of course, but closer to Portland than my colleagues here at the dais. And when I talk to law enforcement that respond, and I talk to the community that are living what we're living with, it's quite different than where you all live. I'll just say that right up front. And, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of our constituents that are in the same community that I live in, that are experiencing the same thing that I hear from constantly. We heard from our sheriff, and she's, completely aware. But when I also talk to people on the ground, the boots on the ground, whether that's our firefighter, emergency responders, whether it's the deputies, the police officers that are responding, what they all say, the boots on the ground say, yeah, I think that mobile assistance is fine, but we need more. We need a place to take these people. They need to be detoxed, and I won't beat this up. I've said it several times, but until we get there, I don't think that, the system we have in place is working well enough, apparently. People don't feel safe, and I can tell you why on a daily basis. If you just want to, I know yesterday, I really appreciate you all in that land use hearing, when we go for a little walk, show you that aspects of the issue around the land use thing we talked about yesterday. But if you wanted to do a double tour and tour or talk to some of the constituents that are dealing with the crime on a daily basis and the needles and all the other stuff, I know our folks, our law enforcement people want to do more, but they need a place to take some of these people that are in a bad way. They need that place. We don't have that place. So, I'm looking for whatever we can do to move that along. So as far as ensuring safe, healthy, my point, I'll close with this, ensuring safe, healthy, and secure communities, I say that's probably more regional, and at least in the region of the county that I live in, it's not really working out so well today. The other thing I want to talk about was the earlier comment, Gary, you mentioned about the Home Builders Foundation doing some extra work out there at the Veterans Village. That's fantastic. They've done a lot. They came to us late last year and met with Commissioner Schrader and I to talk about, they want to do another project. And we've assisted with them, assisted in funding and a number of things to get some of these shelters that they run on their own. They do a good job. They're well managed. Don't cost us a dime other than a little lift on the front end, but they're looking for a property that they can place one. And they came to us with a timeline of around now to come up with something. I do know that our housing authority was talking about divesting from their scattered sites, and there's got to be one of those. I'll raise it again. Maybe you put it under issues, but we need to respond. We just can't let that opportunity, whiz by us and say, too bad, so sad we didn't act. I think people expect more from us, so I'd like to get that moving a little bit. The other one I want to talk about a little bit is just code enforcement stuff. Got a call from an angry constituent over the weekend, and was talking about a property near his home that is, I guess, going to looking into it to find out if it's a neighborhood livability project that has been taken on by the sheriff's and the DA's office. Hopefully it is. If not, it will be at some point. But when we talk about, people expect in their neighborhoods and their properties, not all people, but people expect a well-kept, clean yard, that everyone respects their property, things are just neat and orderly. And when you have a particular property that is not so orderly, or you have criminal activity that's taking place, it's pretty bothersome to those folks. But there have been some cases where, some angry neighbor will call and file a code enforcement issue on something for having maybe some construction material on their side of their home because they're remodeling or something minor. And they go through this heavy action. They're contacted by our code enforcement, and I know our code enforcement staff are doing great work. I know at times they're pretty overwhelmed. But this constituent over the phone, brought up the fact that, Commissioner, when I ride down X highway, and I see some of the homeless camps that are taking place, is that come under code enforcement? Can I file a complaint on that? And I think that if we look at we know what that looks like, right? So should code enforcement apply to public facilities as well? I guess that's a question. When we talked about trash the other day and some of these situations, it's a sad state of affairs. It gets back to the shelter. It gets back to sheltering, whether that's shelter number 2 or 3. But there needs to be a place in order to shelter folks that are living under the worst conditions, to give them at least some opportunity for transition. So. I think that people that are trying to keep their yard neat and clean are a little bit upset when an upset neighbor files a code enforcement issue on some minor petty thing, such as having some building materials alongside their house. It just seems quite the injustice. But those are just a few things that off the top of mind and happened here in the last several days. So with that, I'll conclude my comments there, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Commissioner Scholl, you're up next.
Yes, good morning, Clackamas County. A reminder on citizen involvement in government. The voter pamphlet is out for Clackamas County, and I encourage everybody to scrub through it. We have a lot of work to do. Your decision in May at the primary is going to have a profound impact on how we address problems in this county, this state, and in this nation. On the interviews for the Planning Commission, I'd like to thank the 4 applicants who Commissioner Savas and I had the privilege of interviewing on Monday evening. They're all outstanding applicants. I encourage everyone in the county to keep an eye on availability of positions on boards and committees, and please help us with your knowledge, expertise, and abilities, and get involved. On the Association of Oregon and California Counties, last week the association met in Coos Bay, and the Association of Oregon and California Counties protects our interest in forest land harvests. This year, Clackamas County will receive some $2.6 million from harvest on federal Forest Service managed lands and BLM managed lands. You can learn more about the association at onc.org. On the fire and rescue, I enjoyed the Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue Award ceremony last Wednesday afternoon, and I was impressed at the quality of heroic public servants that we have there. And to all of you who received recognition last Wednesday, and to everyone else who is a member of the Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, thank you very much for your service to the county. On the Portland Charter Commission, every 10 years, the city of Portland puts together a new charter commission that looks at the future of the city. I was very happy to be briefed by this year's charter. They're doing great work, and I look forward to some very good recommendations that they're going to make for the future of our neighbor to the north, the city of Portland. On the Columbia Corridor Association, that's a real estate and building association that works on commercial development along the Columbia River. They met yesterday. I learned a lot from the commercial lands north of Interstate 84 from the Willamette Port of Portland to the city of Troutdale. Those commercial lands are all built out, and they're now looking for where to go next. And the comment was made yesterday by several of the association members that Clackamas County is attractive to them because of its location, but there's no commercial lands available in Clackamas County. So this is something that we need to work on with our representatives in the state legislature to ease up on land use restrictions so that Clackamas County can begin to prepare itself for a future that attracts more business to this county and more jobs. On this day in history, for all you kids out there, in 1789, there was a mutiny on a British ship called the Bounty. The crew took the ship to Pitcairn Island and put the captain, Captain Bligh, and his loyal crew of 18 adrift in a small boat. And if you kids out there ever want to see what a real pirate is, you got to read Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island or watch the movie by Disney starring Robert Newton. That's a real pirate right there, Long John Silver. And the quote of the day from one of my favorite authors, "I was born modest, but it didn't last." Mark Twain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Shull. Commissioner Schrader, you're up.
Okay, so you teed me up, Commissioner Shull, about the book thing. Other good one from Robert Louis Stevenson is Kidnapped.
Oh, yes.
Set in Scotland. And the Walt Disney movie from our childhood is pretty amazing.
Robert Newton was in that movie also.
He was too? Okay. And one little tidbit from my family history in Bristol, England, I went to the tavern because Bristol is where it started, that Robert Louis Stevenson based the tavern when that Long John Silver.
Oh, yeah.
So if you ever want to come and visit my family with me in England,
Yeah.
we'll take you to the Long John Silver spot in the Tavern on the Green in Bristol,
I'll have to go.
where their motto is "Ship shape in Bristol style." Okay,
nice.
that's yeah. And I do have a relative, a past relative, a Northam from my dad's side that evidently was a sailor from Bristol. So I'm tracking that down too. So he might have been one of those pirates. I don't really know, It was all sketchy back then. Okay, anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit this morning about Future Ready Oregon, which is based on Senate Bill 1545. And it is a comprehensive $200 million package of investments that work together to advance an equitable workforce system that supports people with the education, training, and resources they need to get into good paying jobs. This is huge for our local workforce boards. Essentially, the local workforce boards, there's a amount of $37 million for the 9 workforce boards across the county. It will go for community college career pathways, registered apprenticeships, youth programs, credit for prior learning, workforce-ready grants, industry consortia, that's my favorite because that will make sure that the businesses are getting the workforce pipeline that they need, benefits navigators, and assessment and accountability. And this is all under the umbrella of the Higher Education Coordinating Committee. So as we move forward in our Grow a Vibrant Economy initiative, we need to be working very closely with our workforce board in order to get those dollars. For the folks here in our county, we are the only workforce board in the state of Oregon that is just one county. And we worked very hard because we decided we were unique and our needs were unique, and they are, as Commissioner Shull mentioned, you know, things with employment lands are unique here, but also the needs of our workforce are unique. And so we're looking forward to working even more closely with our community college here, which is Clackamas Community College. And in my neck of the woods, it's Portland Community College, because our community colleges have existing career pathway programs. And these dollars from the state that I think we really need to have our folks who work on behalf at the state legislature and at the federal level would really allow us to increase the number of individuals to obtain paid work experience, classroom instruction, and an apprentice credential. It's very important. I have two young men in my family, two sons, who have gone through apprenticeship programs and are doing extremely well for themselves. They are not without a day of work at this point in the construction industry and for the companies they work for. And I think if we can expand that here in this county and reach our high schools and work with our school districts, as well as our workforce board, our vibrant economy will be well served here. And the other issue I've been looking at from a different angle is, and it kind of is also kind of under the umbrella of ensure safe, healthy, and secure communities, okay? And that is looking at child care options. And I've been working with our local workforce board, just as the commissioner who's sitting on that board right now, as they begin with the Clackamas County School District. This is an initiative of the workforce board with our school districts that are really looking at, morning options for parents, childcare options for parents, after-school options for parents. They are beginning to speak to the business community to get their read on what the needs are from the business perspective, because the whole notion is if we can get folks the child care they need, particularly in the trades, because the trades have odd hours sometimes. And you got people that got to get to work, Jeff, you're nodding your head here, at like 4 in the morning, and there's no child care for them. How do we manage that system so we can get those folks to work and make sure the children are safe and well-fed and so on and so forth? So those conversations are happening out in our community. Our early learning hub is under the umbrella of what they already do, has been a part of that conversation. And I think it's going to be an important one, not only to provide services, but also for the vibrant economy piece, so people can get to work, stay at work, know their kids are safe, and if their kids get sick, there's some other option. I know that my own daughter, who uses daycare for her kids, there was one point here that I was going to have to fly out on a dime because she had a trial, and they had to close down the daycare because of COVID, and she was kind of beside herself. She finally worked it out with a grandpa, which was kind of a nice way to do it. But these kinds of issues are important so people can get to their jobs and really pull together so the business community gets what it needs and the parents get the services they need to make sure we're all taking care of our kids. So that's what I have today, other than I am going to go to County Solutions Advisory Committee tomorrow from the Association of Oregon Counties. And we are looking at actually veterans housing across the state and looking at models in other counties, as well as the model that we worked on here with Commissioner Savas and the rest of my colleagues here with the Veterans Village. And yes, Commissioner Savas, I agree with you. We need to jump on the opportunity with the Home Builders Association. They had a change in staff, which is why, we have to loop back now and do a follow-up with that, and see if there's some orphan properties we can use, to take a look at and maybe start doing some more good shelter work. So, all right, that's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Schrader, on that. Yesterday, we had the public hearing. This is piggyback on what Commissioner Savas said. We had a caller come in complaining about terrible roads in Clackamas County, remember the potholes and the sidewalks, and so staff followed up to let us know that particular road where she lives in the area, the whole area, is in the city of Portland, not Clackamas County. Thank you very much, staff, for a quick turnaround on that. Couple of updates. Wednesday, the Court of Appeals overturned the $11 billion verdict against the state over the management of our forests. Clackamas County's lost revenue is estimated about $33 million, and we did sign on to that lawsuit. But as always, we're really careful on how we manage our budget, so we did not put that in our county budget, nor have we spent it. We will continue to pursue this. I believe the case is being appealed to the Oregon Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens. The sad thing about all this is lost revenue for many rural areas that goes towards our schools and public safety that is badly needed. The opioid settlement litigation has been settled. And Oregon, the entire state of Oregon will be awarded about $325 million as part of the two settlements, including Johnson & Johnson, which is $5 billion, and the three distributors of $21 billion. 45% of these funds will go to the state and 55% to local county and cities who have signed into the agreement. Clackamas County will receive approximately $13.7 million. Cities will receive small percentages. Payments will be going out May 2022 and will be front-loaded for the first 2 to 3 years. The county attorney's fees will be largely paid out of the national settlement, not the county funds, and our attorney fees are about $258,000. Although the payments will be front-loaded, we could see remaining payments for another 7 to 18 years on that. That is really something. I want to thank our county council staff for being very dogged in their pursuit of that. That has helped a lot. Next week on May 4th, we get to have a wonderful time and luncheon with the Grand Ronde Tribe Council, and they will visit with us. We look forward to hearing a report on the Blue Heron site, and we will have luncheon here and engage in interaction and keeping each other apprised of the events coming up. Last night, I did something really fun with our tourism council. We went out to the Wooden Shoe Tulip Bulb Farm. It was not raining, it was actually not cold, and everything is in full bloom. We had so much fun. They gave us some dinner. We toured the facility, we walked through the fields, and our own Janice Nielsen's granddaughter won the rubber boot contest. And I have the cutest pictures of Janice and her daughter together if anybody is interested in that. So that's all I have to say. Seeing no further comments before the board, this meeting is adjourned.